is Solid Modeling Fundamentals. In this chapter, we will be understanding some more modeling tools like Revolve, Sweep and Loft. While we are doing so, we will also be understanding some more sketching tools that we left out in the previous chapter. Now let us create this model. We will try to create this model using Ansys Workbench design model. So let us go back to the software. Let me add one standalone geometry again. We will enter into the geometry. Let us set the unit system again to millimeters. Now I'll try to create a sketch for the revolve feature. So first select your plane, in which plane you want to create your sketch. So I've selected the XY plane and now I've entered into sketching. And let us start creating the sketch. So again I'll be using my polyline. Now I need to finish the sketch over here, so I will say closed ended so that it closes. Now that we have completed our sketch, now let us start giving the dimensions. I need this dimension. I need the distance between this and this. I need the distance between this and this, and also between this and this. Now I'll go to constraint and I will say that this length has to be equal to this length. Now let us change the dimension. H1 has to be 28, then L4 has to be 87.5, then L5 has to be 67.5, V2 has to be 7 units, and V3 has to be 10 units. I'll add one symmetry constraint over here. So this is my sketch which is ready. Now we will come out of the sketching tab into modeling. I'll use the revolve tool. The sketch that has to be revolved is this. The axis of revolution has to be this. And the revolution angle should be 360 degrees. It is not a thin surface, and we will say generate. So this is the body that we have generated. So using the revolve tool, we have created the first face feature. Now let us add some more features on this. So I need to create a small cutout over here. So I'll select this face and I will enter into sketching so that I make sure that the sketch is on this plane. Now I'll use a circle to draw the circle tool. I need an offset of the circle, so I'll go to the modify option and we will use the offset tool. I'll select the circle and right click and say place offset. So the offset has to be in the inside direction or outside. You have to place it. If you need to finish it, use your escape button to finish the command. After that, you use your dimensions to give the dimensions. Now here, the inside radius or the inside dia this is 34. Okay, so this is 28 and this is 34. Now I'm going to draw one line over here, and the gap between this and this is 3 units. Now I need the same line on the opposite side. So I'll go to the modify option and use the replicate option, or if you want to mirror it, you can also use copy and paste. Replicate or copy and paste can be used. So replicate, I will select the line, right click, set paste handle, I'll select the center point, right click, flip horizontally, and I will use this again. So I've got my line. Then I'll go to modify trim. I don't need this and this. Now once we've created, now I need the same lines on 6 sides. So now see, I need to create a pattern, but in modify you don't have a pattern tool. So what we are going to do is we are going to use the replicate option only. Now see what, if I need 6 copies of this throughout the 360 degrees, the angle between the two will be 60 degrees. So I'll use replicate. I need to replicate this line. Use your control button and select the other line also. After that, can you see the R option? We will say R rotation angle between the two should be 60 degrees. I've given the R option. Right click, set paste handle. I need to again replicate it about the center point. And now right click and I will say rotate by R degrees. So what happens is your lines will rotate by 60 degrees and paste it. Again I will say rotate by R degrees, paste it, rotate by R degrees, paste, rotate by R degrees, paste. And we need to finish it. Now here something is going wrong. I don't need this line, I don't need this line. I will use this replicate about this, flip vertically, and I will paste it over here. Okay, and now whatever is not needed you can trim them. So we will go, we will say trim. Okay, and escape. Now let us exit. This was my sketch. I'll come into extrude option and I will say that this has to be a cut material, and I will say that it has to be through all generate. Okay, it's not a complete sketch. Okay, now you can see that the extrude has been generated properly. So we've added a cut feature on this. Next we need to add some holes. According to this we need some holes over here. So again we can come back to the design modeler. The hole diameter is 5 and it has to be on a PCD of 160. So come back, we will again go into the sketching, but this time I need to create the sketch on this plane. I need to add a hole. PCD given is 160, so let me add the dimension between this and this center point has to be 80, half of 160, and the hole dia has to be 6 units. You can again use the replicate option to repeat the circle all over. So I can select replicate again. You can also right click, set paste handle is this 60 degrees, right click, rotate by R degrees, and we can say modeling, extrude. I need to cut the material and I will say this time through to next. So this is my model that has been created using the Revolve tool. Next we will understand how to create a sweep feature. A sweep feature is created by using a cross section and a path, where the cross section follows the path to create the desired model. So let us understand how to create the sweep feature. Set the unit system and now start sketching your path. The first thing that you need to sketch for a sweep feature is the path. So I will come into the sketching tab. First select your sketching plane and go into the sketching mode. I'll use a polyline again and I am sketching my path. Now here I need to keep it open, so I will say right click and say open ended so that the polyline stops. Let us give the dimensions. Now when you are giving the dimensions, if you notice only the dimension names appear. So you can come to the dimensions option and say display, I want the values also. So you will get the values also. Now change the dimensions over here. This has to be 60. This has to be 45. And this over here has to be 75. Now I'll come to modify and I'll add some fillets. Now fillets, you can give the value of the fillet over here, or else just add the fillet first. And after that, you can give the dimension and change the value of the fillet. So you will notice that all the three fillets have changed because they were equal radius. I can add one more constraint. I need to add symmetry in this. And the distance between this and this has to be 25 units. So this is my path. After creation of the path, you need to create a new datum plane for making the cross section. Now make sure that the cross section is always perpendicular to your path. So I need to create a new datum plane, and this time I will say that it has to be from pointer normal. So the base point where I need the plane is this, and it has to be normal to this line. Always remember, if I have selected this as the point, do not select this line for selecting the normal defined by. The point and the line should be separate. They should not be in the same geometry. Okay. And then I will say generate. So a new datum plane has been created. You can say right click, always show the sketch, that the sketch is always shown. Now I'll select the plane 4 and I will enter into sketching tab to make the cross section. So I need a circular cross section over here, and I'll give the dimension. Dimension over here has to be 20. Come back to the modeling tab, and now we will go into sweep. So the profile is this and the path is this. You will say generate. You can see that the sweep feature has been created. The sweep feature can also be created for adding material or cutting material. Because it is the first feature, first base feature, you are not getting the cut material option. Okay. Now I am going to shell this sweep feature. So you have one thin surface option over here. Select that, and you have two options over here, three options: faces to remove, faces to keep, and bodies only. I am going to select faces to remove. So I need to select this face and this face because I want to remove these faces completely. And the thickness should be 5. If you see, you can say it has to be 3. So this is the shell that I have been created. Now I have to create one more feature. So I'm going to select plane 4. Now another point to remember is, if you want to create one more sketch on the same sketching plane, then select the plane and always say new sketch. Otherwise what will happen is, the new sketch that you create will get added up in the previous sketch. So always make sure that when you are sketching a new sketch on the same sketching plane, always make sure you say add new sketch. Now I'll select sketch 3 and then enter into sketching tab. And now I want to create another sketch. So I'll create the sketch. Dimensions, I'm going to add some dimension. This has to be 30 and I have one more. This has to be 15 units. And we will say extrude. This has to be 5 units. We will say generate. So this is the sweep feature. Similarly, you can add features and complete your sweep feature also. So the sweep feature can be created like this.